Welcome to the CIO Success Series, Part 2B, Cost Management. My name is Peter Irish, and I'm the president of Focal Point Business Coaching of Northern California. My colleagues and I look forward to guiding you through the CIO Success Series. Here we use the term CIO in its broadest sense for anyone who is fundamentally responsible for a company's IT strategy, spend, and operations. In total, the CIO Success Series will focus on these specific areas so as to highlight key issues and opportunities in an organized fashion. Foundation, the introduction, functional performance and cost management, leadership and influencing, and focus on business strategy. In the course of our sessions, we will refer to several major CIO studies in 2015 and 2016 simply as Study 1, Study 2, etc. Please see the short notes below and see our website for further details. Study 2 provides a very high-level view of how 1,200 plus CIOs spent their budgets in the most recent year. Day-to-day operations absorbed 57%, business innovation and growth 27%, and business transformation another 16%. Study 2 may have had a high-end bias, with some 42% reporting an annual IT budget less than $25 million, while 42% reported more than that, and 10% preferred not to give a specific answer. One of our sources, Gary Albitz, puts the cost structure in very simple terms.
The major cost categories for the CIO are typically people, infrastructure, support, applications, services, and projects. There is no magic formula of how to divide these because they are different in different industries, sizes of companies, and mission of the CIO. To add to the complexity, each category has multiple ways of being addressed. People can be employees, consultants, outsourcing, temporaries, or other forms of working for the CIO or the IT. Ongoing training and benefits of employees versus higher hourly costs of consultants is an example of how this could be different. There is a need for employees where the company has a higher level of intellectual property and a specific required core competency to deliver results, and less where anyone off the street can perform the duties. Where customer satisfaction is involved, it's more viable to motivate employees.
This might be a good time for you to reflect for a minute or two on your own company's IT spend. What is the trajectory of IT spending at your company? How does your company balance the external consultant versus internal employee equation? When is outsourcing right for your company? Let's move on now and consider the question, are CIO budgets generally under pressure or growing? In answer to the question, how much has the IT budget changed since the last financial year, Study 2 CIOs responded as follows. On balance, based on Study 2, it seems that IT spending is stable or growing in absolute terms in about 70% of the companies responding. In fact, at a high level, the pace of IT spending seems to be healthily lagging sales growth, at least in the surveyed companies. Nevertheless, some companies are clearly focused on reducing IT costs. Representing the middle market, Jaime Martinez had some very specific thoughts about managing IT costs during a recent interview.
Wave 1, which we believe is the easy one and everyone knows, it's minimize spending by exploiting the immediate cost reduction opportunities and minimizing ongoing IT expenditures like prioritizing project spending, reviewing license and procurement spending, reducing supplier costs, renegotiating service level agreements, vendor consolidation, reducing external headcount and staffing, and increase asset utilization, of course. Wave 2, which overlaps, is optimize for efficiency by achieving greater control and alignment of IT with the business through better managing supply and demand. IT process automation and generally improving efficiency within the existing IT operating model. Also consider initiatives such as virtualization, consolidating, centralizing, and standardizing servers, storage, databases, and applications, true managed services. Increase the use of cloud, introducing internal collaboration systems, and self-service tools. And again, this is to make the users work smarter, more effective, more efficient. Wave 3 also overlaps. It's to re-architect, to future-proof by enabling IT to plan ahead to handle the challenges the business is likely to face tomorrow. In areas ranging from mobile applications to cloud computing services or support for personal devices. Rethink the operations strategy to position for future complexities. To achieve such flexibility and agility, simplification of the business architecture is required. Way 4 is, which also overlaps, is drive IT-enabled business value by helping the business deliver reduction of costs and productivity improvements in other departments like sales and administration.
The focus on cost reduction, however, is not universal. Study 3 highlights some divergence between the views of IT executives and non-IT executives. Responding to the question of how they expect IT budgets to change from 2014 to 2015, non-IT executives were decidedly more bullish. Perhaps now is a good time for you too to consider whether your CIO has the balance between cost management and service delivery right. What do you think? Clearly, the risk of system failure is one of the CIO's recurrent nightmares, against which some portion of their IT spending must buttress backup and other disaster recovery strategies. In a recent interview, we asked Gary Alberts whether there are in the meantime something like actuarial tables or predictive algorithms to aid a CIO in deciding how much to invest in risk management. Here's his answer.
The guiding principle here is to protect the value or the data or the service of the company. If the company's IP, intellectual property, is worth, say, $100 million, what is the value risk associated with data theft? And on the other hand, if the IP could be developed like a barrier to entry for only $10 million, then the cost of intrusion protection has to be greater than it would cost a competitor to penetrate and potentially spend up to that $10 million to replicate the product. So for example, at AT&T, a service interruption of 1 minute is worth over $1 million in revenue. All of AT&T contracts with their vendors include penalties for outages. I once saw a bill for over $300,000 to a hardware vendor for a short, unplanned outage in just 1 month.
What about long-range planning? Why not pause for a moment and consider? Does your company have a clear long-term IT strategy? How would you characterize the strategy? Is it relatively rigid and dedicated to a particular supplier or system, or is it more opportunistic, open, and fluid? IMEC clearly believes it is possible and necessary to have a long-range IT strategy so as to avoid misinvestment, as he explained in a recent interview.
CIOs should have a 5-year plan and ask, is it a realistic plan? CIOs need to have a credible strategy that is aligned with the business vision. CIOs need to pretend they know nothing. Empty the glass of knowledge, which is full of opinions and speculations, and ask questions. Ask the internet, employers, employees, consultants, and advisors like Ray Kurzweil about how small and fast will hardware or software will be in 5 years. And if it's so small and smart, how will we use it in 5 years?
Gary, on the other hand, sounded a little more skeptical when we interviewed him on the same question.
With the ebb and flow of technology, it's really hard to predict what technology disruptors could impact. As the cost of RAM goes to pennies, it is cheaper to replace hard disks with RAM and to bring data protection internally, as opposed to using a cloud. As bandwidth gets faster and cheaper, the cloud may become more prevalent. However, one major cloud penetration issue could refocus attention on the data protection of the cloud. The issue continues to be that there's no singular solution that is a cost killer. This is the challenge of the CIO. It is a juggling act of current costs versus new disruptive technologies. Entrepreneurs recognize this and are constantly on alert as to how to develop products that reduce both risk and cost. Companies like Equinix that host are also watching and driving their vendors, their hardware vendors, their RAM vendors, their disk vendors, bandwidth vendors to try and get better functionality out of them and returning those functions back to their customers. For example, as Amazon's AWS and Microsoft's Azure increase in popularity, costs will change. But again, the first time a major executive needs to access the stockholders' presentation and then the spreadsheet that is supporting his data to the analyst from AWS with an Office 365 product, then that's going to get that's blocked due to a wireless outage. There will be pullbacks in this industry also.
In summary, cost management is key, and there certainly are robust cost management strategies available. However, other functions, such as the CEO, sales, marketing, etc., may now be even more keen on driving IT spending than is the CIO. Perhaps after performance, the most important attribute is not really cost at all, but flexibility. And that will require incredible vigilance from today's and tomorrow's CIOs. This is Peter Irish and Focal Point Business Coaching of Northern California signing off on this Part 2B of the CIO Success Series. Please join us for our upcoming free webinar and for the meetup thereafter. Follow us at www.norcalbusinesscoaching.com. Thank you for your attention.